Today's special guest is Sandy Woods, the principal of Community School Creative Leadership. We go through a wild range of topics, including what kids are facing in society today, leadership, how she managed through COVID, and what she's doing now to take action to go beyond her local community to shape a nation. If you also are interested in my new book, Purpose Will Save Your Life, you can find it on nexusmountaintnetwork.com. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the Nexus Mountain Network podcast. Today's special guest is Sandy Woods, the principal of Community School of Creative Leadership. Now more than ever, the education mountain is not only under attack, but we need strong leaders like Sandy, and she is a strong leader. We are going to capture today some of the things that she has done to be successful, and she's going to share some tips about how you can even lead within your own homes. Sandy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Chad. I'm so happy to be here.
So Sandy has been she's been at the school for 23 years and the principal for 13. Did I get that right?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay. And you're still there. That means you've done something right. You've done a good job. I can personally attest that you've done a good job. And there's so many topics we can talk about, Sandy. Let's just get right to it.
Sure.
Let's talk about today, society today, what our children are faced with, bombarded with. What's different now than 10 years ago?
Different now from 10 years ago. You really, as a parent, need to know who is influencing your child. Who's your child's coach? Who their friends are, their friends' parents, who their teachers are. Is the teacher someone that you would trust with your children? So we're looking around and we're seeing all these conflicts in school, not just curriculum conflicts, but what's in the school's library? What are schools allowing children to do? Boys in girls' bathrooms, and that's not just at the high school level, that's at elementary. So what is being passed off as normal? And it looks like we're calling evil good and good evil. And we just can't. That is so unbiblical and ungodly and confusing to the generations.
You know, that's really good. And it is true for this time. So my question is, you can say, hey, know who your children are communicating with, who's in their life. But you could have also said that 10 years ago. What are some things that, let's say you're talking about parents at this point, what can parents do specifically? We have phones in our hand. They have phones in their hands. That's different than 10 years ago. So what are some things that they can do to just really step in and be more engaged?
So absolutely do just that. Step into the schools, ask questions, talk with your teachers. One of the most important things that we put forth here at the Community School for Creative Leadership is relationship. We put relationship over rigor. We put relationship over academics. We put relationship is the number one thing. So for parents, you need to have that relationship with not only with your child, but with your child's teacher. What is he or she like? What do they believe? Look around the classroom. What books are there? What's in the curriculum? Do the same for the school's principal, the librarians, anyone that your child has contact with. This is not being a helicopter parent. It's being an informed parent. You're developing a relationship, not in a critical sense, but you are the number one protector of your child. So you want to know what's going on.
I like that. It speaks to intentionality, to sum up what you're saying, but also I want to talk about what you just said, relationship over rigor. That probably was not a popular decision, especially years ago. It's probably become more popular now just because of what's going on in society that's so drastically different. So Comenius itself has made some tough decisions on this is the path we are choosing because God is telling us to do it. So the long term for these children, they'll be benefited. So tell us a little bit about how Comenius is different than some of the other schools.
Just that. So in today's society with education, rigor is being pushed. There's more testing. There's more challenges to students. We see them being stressed out, overworked. I see an uptick in cheating because kids need to get the grade. They're working for the grade. They're not working for their own education or their own knowledge or their own interest. They're working for a grade. And let's face it, when you're at a school, no one cares about your grade, right? They care about you and what you can do and affecting society. So we flip the model from rigor, relevance, and relationship to relationship is number one. It's the key. What
Hmm.
interests the child? That's really big. How are you going to train up a child in the way they should go if you don't know the talents and giftings that God's giving them so that you can equip them in the way they should go? It's all about relationship first. And then you can develop relevant coursework for them and you get the rigor because they're doing what they love.
Yeah, that's so good. I come from a family, I got kicked out of my house when I was 17 years old, and no one in my family had ever been to college. So I figured I had to go. Well, back then, college meant more. It meant something. And so I did. I got a bachelor's degree and then I went on to get a master's degree and I had some success in business. But now I look at my kids are very bright and they may or may not go to college because unless they go for something very, very specific and that they're called to do, that they're purpose to do, that's really, really key versus just pushing them into something. And it sounds like this is an approach that Comenius has been taking well above the curve in society.
Yeah, we totally take Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way they should go, and in the end they will not depart from it, to mean train up the child, discover their gifts and their talents, discover the way that the Lord wants them to go, because when they discover that and they're equipped in it, they're not going to leave that. They're not going to depart from that. They're going to have a fulfilling life and they're going to be doing what they love and they're going to be active members of society and the church. Yeah. So that's really key for us. Okay. And it means a more individualized approach. Now, I do see this twisted in public education right now. I see them developing a relationship that's very groomed. You need to be tolerant of all things. You need to be tolerant of what the Lord calls evil. That is a false relationship. And it's not training the child in the way they should go. It's training the child in the way society wants them to go. Not good.
Okay, this is good. Let's go there. So as leaders, as teachers and mentors, wow, we have LGBTQ, and I think they added an INA too or something on there. I don't know if I have the entire acronym correctly, but our poor kids, they're getting blasted with this stuff. Yeah. And they're blasted on their phones. Now they're getting blasted on teachers. And I'm wondering, I had this conversation with someone recently. I'm wondering if the educators themselves that are going to be teachers have also changed. And now they're the educators. And I wonder, how do you manage this as a principal?
So for us, we obviously vet our teachers very well. It's know those who labor among you. So we really want to know them first. Recommendations, maybe they're people that we already know or people that we know and trust who know them, because they're going to be affecting our kids. You mentioned educators being educated, right? So those who go to secular colleges are obviously going to be groomed in that way towards a certain agenda. Yeah. And I remember, oh gosh, years and years ago, I went to a secular college for education and just being told that we were the ones who were controlling the thoughts of the children. I mean, it was that blatant.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was, and it was alarming, but at the time, the agenda was not so out there, ungodly evil.
I just want to restate that we talk about the 7 mountains and the education mountain. What you just said just tells us how critical and important this mountain is to society and our children and our families. And so, you've been in a principal for 13 years. That means you've had to demonstrate and grow in leadership. You've had to lead a lot of teachers. You had to lead a lot of students. And most recently, you've had to lead through a pandemic. I think you made some really tough decisions. I mean, and no matter what school you are, Christian, private, public, you had to make some tough decisions with information that was probably not all that accurate. So tell us how you went about making those tough decisions during COVID.
Well, thankfully, I work for a ministry that's very prophetic. So even before COVID hit, they were saying, hey, get ready. Develop a plan in case you need to shut the school down. So we had the plan all in place. Thankfully, days before, Governor McMaster in South Carolina shut everything down. But it was an easy transition because we were ready for that. And then, we finished out the school year online, but then we had to look, well, what do we do for the upcoming school year? And we really sought the Lord on this and just kind of thought, we're going to open. We're going to open. We're going to take some precautions, but we are not going to require masks. We are not going to put little lucite prisons around desks. We are not going to take the temperature of every child who comes into the school. We're going to trust our parents to make sure that if your child is sick, keep them home. We're going to trust the children to kind of stand 6 feet apart when they can, but we still went outside and had recess. Kids are kids.
Yeah.
You know, and so we went through the 2020, 2021 school year. There were a few cases of COVID. We dealt with it. Yep. Opened up even more the next year. We're fully open now. Sure, we take precautions to sanitize the school, but it's nothing out of the ordinary. I think we have a very happy and healthy school population because we weren't fearful.
Yeah, and I like in your answer, I heard collaboration and I heard being led by the Spirit. Mm-hmm. And you had another third thing I heard was wisdom. So there's a spirit of wisdom. So obviously what was being revealed to you and your team and your leaders, then you locked into the spirit of wisdom to say, okay, what do we do now with the information that we have? And the Holy Spirit gave it to you and it proved to be true. And here's the big one. It was still safe.
Yeah.
And that was obviously number one on your mind is, okay, safety first. What is the Lord saying? And the Lord has rewarded you guys. And I'm thankful that you did it according to the Holy Spirit. So let's stay on the topic of leadership. Do you have a leadership principle or do you have a leadership style? Tell us a little bit about, because we all lead differently, but I'd love to know how you lead.
So I would call, I jokingly call myself the improv principle, because as much as possible, everything's a yes.
Okay.
Well, how can we turn everything into a yes? When kids come to me and they have an idea, how do I say yes to this idea? How do we do this? Let me think of an idea. This is what our school would like. Our class would like to do a field trip, and it's to this certain place. How do I empower them? How does that turn into a yes when it might not be part of the curriculum, but it's a really good idea to build camaraderie among the kids. And so it's always leading questions to them to get them to the yes.
So to me, that speaks to your core value of relationship over rigor. Mm-hmm. And also what I think you just described without knowing it, maybe you knew it, is situational leadership, where you lead based on the situation and you flex, and that it ultimately empowers your leaders to do more versus a rigor that's in place that said, nope, these are the rules, that's it. But you're saying, wait, let's open to possibilities. Our name for our school is Creative School of Leadership. So therefore, we need to allow for creativity. And it sounds like, I know it now to be true for 13 years, that's the type of leader this school needs, is a situational leader that enables creativity and openness to possibilities. So I'm really cool. I'm not really cool. I'm really glad that you shared that answer, because I didn't know what you're going to say, but it's a perfect alignment. So you should be encouraged. Well done. Okay. So now you're taking on an even bigger leadership role. You want to go beyond Comenius School of Creative Leadership. You've seen how the impact this has on your community, but now you want to multiply. So I think you know where I'm going. Mm-hmm. You are leading into a new era. So tell us about it.
You know, it's always been on the hearts of the teachers and the staff here to lead and to not just multiply what we do in our school, but to empower others to start schools. So we started there. Hey, let's do something that other people can start schools. But then with everything that's happening in education, we thought we need to empower teachers in public schools to lead well. We need to empower homeschooling families. We need to empower small little homeschool pods. So along with Chris Reed, who was the originator of the idea for the New Era Conference, this is our second year in June, last weekend in June 25th. Through the 27th, we have our New Era Education Conference. And that conference is for anyone and everyone who wants to be involved in some way with education. Not only is New Era a conference, it's a movement. We want to start a movement to take back education and to take it over. Mm. You know, if we do not capture this generation of kids, the church is going to be without future leaders, because this generation, if they do not continue in churches and in their Christian faith, if they're not resilient disciples, then who's going to take over church leadership? So the appeal is also for pastors to look beyond just the next couple of years, but look 15, 20 years ahead. Who's in your church that's going to stay in your church and going to lead the church? The church is Jesus's bride. So we're actually, as educators, have a really big part in preparing the bride of Christ. So I know it kind of got a little off topic there, but that's the movement. The movement is, let's empower anyone and everyone, parents, public school teachers, homeschoolers, educators, school startups. Let's empower them to educate with purpose, with intentionality, with the Lord's heart in mind. What's the Holy Spirit saying to you?
So if you and I got into an elevator and we went up 3 floors and I said, hey, Sandy, what's New Era? What would your answer be?
New Era is a movement to take back education and save a generation.
Awesome. And how does someone get involved in New Era?
Oh, several different ways. You can go to the New Era conference, which is, I guess I'll give you the link for that. Okay. You can go to our website, www.comeniuschool.com, and connect with us there. You can come to our school and spend 3 days here observing, be part of the community, interact with the students and the staff, and really get a good feel for what does it look like to have Holy Spirit in a school. You can, we have 2 books that actually describe some of what we do here. So I'll show you, this is the first one, Kingdom Education. It's kind of what we do here at Comenius that's different and that flexes. And then the second one, a field guide for Kingdom Education, that is written by our teachers. What do they do that's different in their classroom and how you can do it as well? Those are available by just contacting us, admin@comeniusschool.com, going to our website, even on Amazon. But I would say several different ways to connect and to find out what we're doing.
That's great. And also, if you want to, you can actually connect with Sandy on Nexus Mountain Network app. Yes. And she actually shared a story with me that I didn't know was really cool, just to kind of show you how Nexus works. Is she went to, I think you said in summer, you went to Texas, and there was someone there in Nexus in Texas, and you end up getting together, had a connection, and you had a really good meeting, and possibly even maybe a school being started in Texas based on you guys connecting together. Did I get that story right?
So yeah, February, Dallas, actually was able to connect the people in Dallas with another school that was highly kingdom. So just to kind of help each other, we need regional hubs.
Awesome. That's great. And you guys are, with New Era, are expanding way beyond this local area throughout the nation. And you have people for this conference, you have people coming in all over the nation to come in. And just say the dates one more time so people can put it on their calendar.
June 25, which is a Sunday, through June 27, which is a Tuesday. We have we have Lance Wallnow as a keynote speaker along with Chris Reed. Yep. We have workshops for people starting schools, for people who are wanting to homeschool and just, how do I do that? How do I do that? That's Kingdom and Holy Spirit. We have Holy Spirit Classroom. So if you are a teacher in the public school, how do you sneak in under the radar and invite Holy Spirit to connect with kids that have no idea that they're even being influenced by ungodly agendas? And then we do have Reading for Success. Lots of schools don't have a good reading program. This will help you get started.
So without saying their names, unless you really want to, but do you have a really exciting success story where you watch one of your students go on to do something in life that you were just like, it doesn't have to be like huge, but just something that was so meaningful to you to watch them develop and see something happen in their life?
So you actually know Nadira Nagy.
Yeah.
When I was first hired at the Comenius School for Creative Leadership, Nadira was in my history class, was a history teacher. She was a senior, it's my first year. And just part of this class, graduated, goes on to be a store manager. I would see her every once in a while. Nothing standout at that point. Later on, I hear she's a bank manager and she's turning banks around. So I called her and I was like, hey, Nadira, what is it that's really empowered you to be able to do this and be successful? And she said, oh, it was leadership. It was leadership at the community school. And all the pointers and the tips and the books and the studies that we did there. And then I think it was the next year she called me and said, the Lord's telling me to quit the bank. And I was like, come work for me. Come be a part of what we're doing here. So as you know, she is now part of our administration. She teaches entrepreneurship. She runs our school production. For me, that is such a success story. Her children are enrolled at the school. Like, what better advertisement for any school is this success story of an alumni?
Yeah, multi-generations now too. That's really great. That's a testament in itself. All right, Sandy, what did you want to be when you grew up, when you were a little girl?
A teacher.
Amen. Awesome. And let me ask you this. Did you, when you were little, this is usually the follow-up question. I actually shared at Youth on Fire recently, and I asked this second question. When you were little, what clues did you have in your life that you wanted to be a teacher when you grew up?
I loved school. I never understood why kids didn't love school, because I loved school. I played school. I made my brothers play school. They hated it. Apparently, I wasn't the best teacher for them, but I loved it. So it was always, that was my goal.
That's great. I love that. And so I say to the audience that's listening, when you were little, I bet if you examine your life, you had clues when you were little that what God created you to be. And so you notice how fast Sandy actually, boom, gave an answer. She loved school. And guess what? I did not. But she did. And that's why she was called to it. Sandy Woods, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for coming on the show. We will see you at the New Era Conference, and we hope to see many others too.
Awesome. Thanks, Chad. Thanks for having me. This has been great.